Welcome to the deep dive. We take your source material, we sift through it, and we pull out the insights you need.
That's the goal.
Today, we're diving into online customer targeting. We have a pretty comprehensive guide here,
Yeah.
and our mission really is to extract the absolute essentials on finding, connecting with, and converting the right audience online.
It sounds straightforward, but it's incredibly challenging today. The online space is just so crowded.
Totally. Thousands of brands all vying for attention.
Exactly. So if you don't know precisely who you're aiming for, you're basically, well, you're wasting resources. Mastering targeting is fundamental for growth. It's about focus.
Making every effort count. And sometimes, especially when things are crowded, you need a way to stand out fast, build some credibility.
Right, that initial traction.
Yeah, and our source actually touches on that. It talks about building trust and amplifying presence, and it even mentions tools that can help. For example, it points to services like rapidboost.net as a way you might quickly grow your social media footprint and build that initial credibility.
Which can be helpful in noisy markets. But what this guide really hammers home is that everything, absolutely everything, starts before you even think about platforms or ads.
Okay.
It's about knowing who your ideal customer actually is, deeply understanding them. It's not about a wide net. It's laser focus.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Customer personas. The guide calls them the bedrock. We hear that term a lot, but what makes a good persona, according to this source?
It's about going way beyond basic demographics. It's not just, female 30s likes coffee.
Right.
It's more like Sarah, 38. She's a working mom. She feels guilty. She doesn't have time for proper workouts. Her pain points are lack of time and exhaustion. Her goals are feeling healthier, less stressed. See the difference?
Yeah, that's much more specific. There's that B2B example too, right?
Exactly. Moving from just tech people to operations managers at mid-sized tech companies who are really struggling with inefficient workflows. That level of detail, it changes how you communicate completely.
It makes it feel real.
Yeah.
So how do you build that? You can't just make Sarah up.
No, absolutely not. The guide highlights a few core research methods. First, talk to your current customers. Interviews. Find out why they chose you. What problem did you actually solve for them?
That seems like gold.
It is. Then use your analytics. Google Analytics, Facebook Insights, LinkedIn data. Look for patterns. Age, location, interests, how they behave on your site, you might be surprised.
Okay, so data you already have.
Right. And surveys are great too. Ask prospects directly about their needs, what they're looking for. Tools like Typeform make it easy. And don't forget reviews. Yours and your competitors. They're a direct line into what people love and what drives them crazy.
So you gather all this raw material from interviews, analytics, surveys, reviews.
And then you look for the patterns, the recurring themes. The guide mentioned how SaaS companies often find their sweet spot is, like analytics-driven marketing managers in fast-growth startups. Super specific.
And super actionable, I guess.
That's the point. Specificity leads to action. Once you know who they are in that detail, the next step the guide covers is understanding their journey.
The customer journey. Okay. How they get from A to B.
Pretty much. From realizing they have a problem or a need, to researching solutions, weighing options, and finally, making a decision, making a purchase.
Where do they go online during that process?
Exactly. Are they Googling specific questions, asking friends on Facebook, scrolling Instagram for ideas, reading blogs, joining forums? Knowing that path is critical.
Because you want to meet them there. Right place, right time.
You got it. There's a great case study in here about a niche outdoor gear company. They figured out their ideal customer, let's say weekend hikers, 25 to 40, were obsessive researchers.
We're nerds.
Total gear nerds. So the company tailored blog posts to answer very specific gear questions hikers ask during that research phase. And they ran Google ads targeting those exact search terms.
And the results.
Doubled their organic traffic, improved ad conversion rates by 40%, just by aligning their content and ads with the customer's actual journey.
Wow. Okay, so understanding the journey naturally tells you where these people hang out online.
It leads you right there. And the guide is clear.
Yeah.
You can't just be everywhere. Pick your platform strategically.
Not all platforms are created equal.
Definitely not. LinkedIn, obviously, is king for B2B for reaching professionals. Instagram and TikTok. Great for younger demographics, very visual content.
Trends, inspiration.
Exactly. Facebook is still huge, very versatile for local businesses, broad age ranges. Pinterest is amazing for visual discovery. Think home decor, food, fashion, DIY.
But it's not just the big names, right? The guide says look deeper.
Yeah, that's a key point. Your ideal audience might be super active in a specific Reddit community or in the comments section of certain YouTube channels or maybe niche industry forums.
So dig around.
Use your platform analytics. See where people are really engaging. The guide contrasts a beauty brand focusing on TikTok and YouTube for Gen Z skincare fans versus an HR consultancy putting all its effort into LinkedIn. Makes sense.
And what about when people are actively searching for solutions, not just browsing?
That brings us to website and search behavior. How do people find businesses like yours when they actually type something into Google?
Okay.
Using tools like Google Search Console, plus your own website analytics, shows you the exact search terms people are using. That's invaluable for your SEO, for your content strategy.
Knowing their language.
Precisely. The legal consultancy example is good in Craftontees. 60% of their traffic came from really specific industry-related Google searches. So what did they do?
Invested in blog content optimized for those exact terms.
Bingo. Meeting the customer right at their point of need.
Okay, so we've figured out who they are, we've mapped their journey, we know where they hang out. Now, talking to them, crafting that message.
This is where it gets personal. The messaging needs to resonate. It needs to feel like you get them. Use their language, speak directly to their problems, their aspirations.
And focus on the benefits,
Yep.
right, not just the features.
Absolutely critical. The productivity app example nails it. Don't just say time tracking. Say effortless time tracking so you can focus on making your next client happy, not filling in spreadsheets.
That speaks directly to a freelancer's pain.
Exactly. It translates what your product does into what it does for them. And to make that message land even harder, the guide stresses personalization and segmentation.
One size does not fit all.
Never. You need to slice your audience into smaller groups based on specific data or behavior, segment your email lists, your social ads, even your website landing pages.
There's that crazy stat in the source, Campaign Monitor.
Yeah, a 760% increase in email revenue from segmented campaigns. That tells you everything. It lets you talk to the wellness seeker about calming teas and the gourmet flavor fan about exotic blends. Totally different conversations, hitting different motivations.
Makes sense. And while you're tailoring messages, you also have to build trust, establish authority.
Hugely important online. People are skeptical. You need to show you're credible. Share case studies, real results for people like them, testimonials work. Even behind-the-scenes content builds rapport.
Authenticity.
Yeah, and social proof is massive. Seeing others trust you makes new people feel safer. And as we mentioned earlier, sometimes accelerating that initial perception of trust and activity is key.
Right, which is where those tools come back in, like the source mentioned with rapidboost.net, potentially helping build that visible social proof faster.
It can help create that initial momentum, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got the message, the trust. Now the guide moves into the specific tactics, putting it all together on different platforms.
Okay, practical application.
Exactly. Paid social media ads, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they offer amazing targeting options. Location, interests, behaviors, job titles. You can get really granular.
Lookalike audiences, too.
Definitely. Targeting people who look like your best current customers. And retargeting, showing ads to people who've already visited your site or engaged somehow. The source says that can boost conversions by up to 70%.
That's significant. What about Google Ads, search marketing?
That's about capturing intent. Someone searches best CRM for SaaS startups. Boom, they're actively looking. You target those specific high-intent keyword phrases, not just broad terms like CRM.
More focused.
Much more focused. And you track your cost per acquisition religiously. Make sure it's profitable.
Then there's content marketing and SEO, the long game.
It is a longer play, but it attracts high-quality leads over time. Create genuinely valuable content, blog posts, guides, videos that answer the specific questions your personas are asking. Use SEO tools to find those questions.
Like the fitness brand example, workout tips for busy pros.
Perfect example. Providing value tailored to a specific persona. And don't forget, partnerships or influencer collaborations.
Tapping into other audiences.
Right, especially micro-influencers who have a really engaged niche following. Or partnering with complementary non-competing brands. It exposes you to new potential customers through a trusted source.
Okay, so we've built the foundation, picked the channels, crafted messages, launched campaigns. Is that it? Set it and forget it.
If only. No, the guide is really clear on this.
Yeah.
Effective targeting is never done. It demands continuous learning, constant refinement.
Beta-driven iteration.
Exactly. You have to be watching the data.
What data specifically should we be tracking?
Key metrics the guide points out are things like your cost per lead or cost per acquisition. How much are you spending to get a customer through each channel?
Okay.
Click-through rates on ads and emails is your message grabbing attention. Engagement rates on social is your content actually connecting. And, crucially, conversion rates, but broken down by segment, by channel. Who's actually buying?
Mm.
And where are they coming from?
That tells you what's really working.
It's your roadmap.
Mm.
And you use it to test relentlessly. AD test headlines, offers, images, videos, audience segments.
Test everything.
Strategically. Test email, subject lines, send times, test different ad formats. Small tweaks based on data can add up to big wins over time.
So analyze, test, learn, adjust.
That's the loop. If analytics show your content for operations managers is killing it, make more of that. Put more budget towards the channels where they hang out. If an ad isn't getting clicks, ditch it and try something new.
Like that jewelry brand example, tracking Instagram story interactions.
Yeah, that was cool. They saw polls and Q&As boosted engagement by 38%, so they did more of that.
Yeah.
And it led directly to more site visits and sales. Listening to those signals pays off.
It really underscores that you need to pay attention and be agile.
Okay, so for someone listening wanting to put this into action, where's the starting line?
The guide gives a pretty clear roadmap. Step 1, outline your top 2 or 3 core customer personas, really flesh them out, validate with data if you can.
Make them real people. Yes. Step 2, map their online journey. Research phase, social phase, buying phase, where are they? Step 3, pick just 2 or 3 priority platforms based on those journeys. Don't spread yourself too thin initially.
Focus is key.
Absolutely. Step 4, craft segmented messages for those personas across your key touch points. Emails, ads, landing pages. Step 5, launch small tests. Get something out there, but make sure you have clear metrics to track.
Start the learning process.
Exactly. Step 6, monitor, analyze, iterate. Watch the data, figure out what it's telling you, and adjust. Step 7, double down on what works, cut what doesn't. Be ruthless but informed.
And remember, it's ongoing, right? The digital world keeps changing.
Constantly. You have to schedule time to revisit your personas, reevaluate channels, refresh your messaging. It's not a one-time setup.
This has been incredibly useful. It's clear that effective online targeting is, well, it's part art, part science. Research, empathy, creativity, tech, and a whole lot of data analysis.
It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint, as they say. But the guide emphasizes that those improvements compound. Every bit better you get at targeting makes everything else more effective.
So the encouragement is just to start. Maybe go back to those personas, map out a basic strategy. And like the source noted, if boosting that initial visibility and credibility is part of your plan, looking into services like rapidboost.net could be worth considering.
Ultimately, finding your audience and adapting to them online. That's a massive competitive edge.
Absolutely. So based on everything we've talked about, the data, the need to iterate, the shifting landscape, maybe the thought to leave you with is this. How often are you really stepping back and questioning if you still know who your ideal customer is and if you're still looking for them in the right places?